Hey friend, we're going to talk about money today. Did you know that Warren Buffett has been investing for over 60 years? He has one of the most consistent long-term track records in financial history. And when you look at his chart, specifically his second house, you understand why. His second house is in Capricorn. Therefore, the ruler, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, okay? I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, Saturn is actually sitting inside his second house. He has Saturn in Capricorn. The ruler of the second house is in the actual house. And this speaks to the pattern. The most important part here, this is a strong placement for second house matters. And it speaks to the long game, a long game for this man. So we're going to get into the second house today. So just wait. Okay, so before we get into it, if you are a coach, a healer, a creator, or entrepreneur building a heart-led business, I would like to invite you. Come join us at the Business Astrology Hub on School. We are ranked number 44 in spirituality with over 500 members meeting live every single week. And the link is in the description, but it's questmystic.com/school. Now let's talk about money blueprint. So, in the money world, in astrology, we talk a lot about the second house because the second house governs personal resources, earned income, self worth, and values. It's not just about money, okay? It is also about what you believe you deserve. And it has three layers. First, the sign on the actual cusp. Second, any planets that sit inside of it. And then third, the ruler of that placement. Okay. So every single sign has a ruler, and every single of these placements give you a little bit more information as to what is happening in your chart. The sign tells you how things play out, how you attract and grow wealth, whereas the planets sitting inside of it are going to tell you a little bit more information. They color, okay? It colors the second house in complexity. For example, Jupiter expands it, whereas Saturn gives you structure and discipline, whereas Chiron would say provide a layer of healing that needs to be addressed. And the ruler's placement, every sign has that ruling planet, right? Wherever that sits in your chart, which house it occupies, tells you where your wealth is actually generated, where these two things are actually connected, because it's one and the other, not always in just one place. Although for Mr. Buffett, it actually is. And that is your unique money address, the combination of those three. Now, in all of this, I looked at 10 charts. Only 5 of them actually had any data for me to analyze. And so those 5 individuals that I have data for are those here and displayed right behind me. This would be Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Bernard Arnault, Jean Shenzhen, and Warren Buffett, and each of them has a different second house. Mine, except for, let me back up, except for Musk and Gates. Both of them have the same second house, but the differences between them is dramatic. Why? Because unlike Gates, Musk has no planets in the second house. And Musk, his ruler of the second house, is actually in the first house. Okay, so let me get into that a little bit more. This is the data in case you wanted to know. So the Leo second house, which is Musk and Gates, this is something that really stood out for me. All right, so two of the wealthiest people out there have the same planet situation, okay, the rulership, okay? So both of them have Leo on the second house, meaning their sun sign, the placement of their sun tells us a lot about this money picture. Okay, but the expression of these are very, 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 very different. Musk Leo second house is empty. There's no planets inside of which means the entire story lives with his sun, and his sun is in Cancer in the first house. He is the brand. He is the personality, and his personality and money are tied together. His identity, his emotional narrative, his public persona, these are inseparable from his net worth, and how they're tied. When he opens his mouth, his money goes up or down or sideways. He impacts it that way, okay? This is his first house in his first house sun in action. Whereas Gates, with a Leo second house, he has Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto. So we're talking expansion. And then Uranus is all about revolutionary technology and disruption. Pluto is transformative power and systemic changes. And what's interesting, this is someone that has built their wealth through ideas, okay, that has fundamentally changed a lot about how this world works. His sun is in Scorpio in the fifth house. His wealth comes through creative, speculative, and intellectual output. The foundation, the Gates Foundation, the books, the public health work, all of that speaks to a fifth house expression of a Scorpio sun. All right, so same sign, same ruler, completely different wealth stories, and that is the second house in action, depending on who rules who and what is inside of it. Now, the Capricorn house, which is Buffett, Buffett is fascinating because he has the ruler of his second house in the second house. And it's not just any second house, all right? This is Capricorn, the long game, really step by step plan. Nothing that they're doing is done spontaneously. This is calculated, and the risk is analyzed to the nth degree. He wants to know that, make sure that when he goes out and makes money moves, that they're going to land, and they're going to land well for the long haul. All right. This man is not out there chasing trends. He's been investing for over 60 years with a massive accumulation over the years. And we're talking massive. All right. That's not just luck. That is Capricorn. This is somebody who has a very strong Capricorn second house with its ruler sitting right there. And guess what? This is something he's literally said to himself at some point, I'm sure. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient, right? I can see him saying that, like, we're just going to wait it out. That is a Saturn in Capricorn in the second house speaking through and through. How about these last two people? We have Jean Jean and Bernard Arnault. Bernard Arnault is a Virgo second house with Saturn inside. So he's got Virgo is the sign of mastery, perfection, precision, and craft. And so Saturn really adds this discipline layer and a long-term structural approach for him. So, for example, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Tiffany, Bulgari, these aren't brands that are built on hype. These are longevity, legacy brands, right? It's built on obsessive quality and meticulous craft. This is Virgo in the second house with Saturn. Whereas his ruler is in Aquarius in the seventh house. So his seventh house is the deal making, the acquiring the brands, the structuring of the partnerships, building distribution networks. Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, adding an innovative and systems thinking quality to how those deals are structured. Now, Zhang, this is someone that has Taurus on the second house, which is actually the most natural placement that many people would think about for wealth, because Taurus is the sign of resources, stability, and material value. He has Chiron inside of it. Chiron in the second house is a wound around security and self-worth. For Zhang, he grew up in poverty, all right, during the Cultural Revolution. That wound really became an engine for him. And the ruler of this area is Venus in Sagittarius in the ninth. And so the ninth house is international markets, publishing, and distribution. So for him, the spring water, the Nongfu spring water that he created, the bottled water company that made him the wealthiest person in China, is a story of reaching the entire country, right, through scale and distribution. That for him is his ninth house Venus. So the ruler's story for each of these individuals, Musk is in the first house, so wealth through personal identity and presence. Gates, that's in the fifth, so wealth through creative and intellectual output. Whereas Arnault, his is in the seventh, and that speaks to partnership. Jean Jean's, it's the ninth, that speaks to markets, foreign markets, international reach. And Buffett's, well, that's the second house in itself. So he's building wealth through the house directly, through his own house of resources, his own talents, his own earned income, the things that he has been doing and building over the long haul. So no two rulers ever land in the same house. Like this is just how things happen when you study charts. And every single one of these placements has told us and shared with us a little bit of nugget of how wealth can begin from an origin point. And that's the point. There's no single formula. There's only your formula, friend, and it's written in your chart. And so your mirror for this time, there's 3 questions I want you to think about. What is the sign on the second house? Are there any planets inside? And where's your second house ruler? Study those things so that you can actually understand the pattern that is what's happening at this time. So let's do that. Identify the sign. Find the sign on your second house. Look up what the sign's core quality is. Is it visibility, discipline, mastery, innovation, whatever it may be? All right. Then locate the ruler. Find the ruling planet of that sign in the house it sits in. That house tells you where your wealth story actually lives. And then ask the question, are you currently building wealth in a way that aligns with your blueprint? Or are you trying to earn in some other manner that is just not really feeling good for you? Okay. And that happens to a lot of us, okay? This is one of the things that we've come to learn over time. And so here's the fill in the blanks for you. My second house is in, which means I generate wealth through, and that's the quality of the sign, so the sign itself. My ruler is in the house of, which means my story lives in the area of life, blah, 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 and fill that out. Write it down, say it out loud, and then look at your current income streams and ask, does this match? Is this something that I want to do? Do I want to continue with this? Okay. So your values, my friend, are not separate from your wealth. They are the blueprint for it. Okay. The second house is not just about money. It is about what you believe you deserve for yourself. When you align your earning with your innate design, the friction really does disappear. At least, the moments when you don't have to change things up again. Because if anything in life, it's inconsistent, right? Constant change. And besides, when you're earning in this way, it feels much better. So wealth is not something you choose, okay? Although some people have been born into it, many times it's something that you truly embody. So take this opportunity to join me in the next video. I'll be talking about earth versus fire and trying to understand how 55% of the placements in the billionaire wealth charts have that dynamic. Wild, eh? I'm going to show you what happens when that balance is off, all right? When we have so much earth and fire. And we're also going to talk about what is happening in the sky right now in 2026 as we have both Saturn and Neptune joining in Aries, traversing through Aries for a while, and we have Jupiter moving into Leo. In this particular moment, when all this starts to click in, and it's already moving that way, it is one of the most significant fire activations in decades, okay? For business builders and anyone out there that is attuned to what is happening in the cosmos. So subscribe to the Quest Mystic so you don't miss anything in the future. And if you want to go deeper into your chart, come join us in the Business Astrology Hub on School. Link in the description, questmystic.com/school. We have over 500 members, weekly live calls, and worksheets for everything that you need in your life at this time. So I'll see you in video 5. Take care.